Okay, so this is the first iteration of ToC Unstrung, and that means we'll have some learning curve as well. So we'll have to come back to the video, but you would have seen two indelible champions in that video. The gentleman who defined a decade of the Tournament of Champions and really propelled it to an extraordinary new level. Please welcome four-time winner Jonathon Power and three-time winner Peter Nicol. All right.
Hello.
Hey,
JP.
How's it going, Peter? Nice to see you.
I'm good, mate. How are you? Hey, Will. Hey, John.
Hey, John. Love it.
Hi.
Good job.
So Peter, where are you calling from, and what have you been doing the last couple of days?
The first thing I want to say is it's tough to hear that when you talk about 3 decades worth, we fit into that third decade. It doesn't feel like I'm that old, but obviously that's happened already. I'm up in a mountain in the northeast in upper state New York. Just gone had a little break this week because it's public school holidays in New York City.
And Jonathon, where are we reaching you?
Yeah, I'm not quite the lumberjack type like Peter, just getting out there and into the woods. But I'm sitting in my apartment in the city of Toronto on a snowy day. Not much more to tell you than that.
Conversation by asking you, Jonathon, a question, which is, given your history, which one of you two did you think would be the first one to be imprisoned by a foreign government?
Well, I think that already happened to me, so it's probably going to be me.
Peter, do you want to tell us about Kazakhstan and your visit?
Nope. I'm going to leave it at this. It was a visa issue, and it was tit for tat. And those 2 days in that cell with Adrian Wizard Davis were some of the best 2 days of my life.
In Kazakhstan. Wow, that's good times.
I know, it was a military facility just at the airport in the middle of nowhere, and our visas hadn't checked out, so we just got reprimanded there and remanded for two days. It was a bizarre experience, but we got out. We stayed.
Peter, back in the day, what was the one thing about Jonathon that really pissed you off the most?
Nothing. I love him. I've always loved him. There's never been anything. Probably the fact that he was funny and I wasn't. He was exuberant. All the things that probably I wanted to be. That probably pissed me off more than anything else. Where I was obviously stoic and quiet and got everything done. But that also pissed me off just in a genuine way, because it was like, can we just get on with playing and get on with it? But at the same time, I got to say this, and I'm getting goosebumps right now. It was such an amazing experience to have that time with Jonathon, and I think we've talked about it subsequently from retiring. He pissed me off a lot, but at the same time, he drove me on, and it was so much fun to be part of that for almost a decade.
Jonathon, you're particularly well suited to New York. At least you appeared to feel like it would just fit you like a glove. And in fact, you told me earlier you were sitting in front of a couple pictures that reminded you of nights you'd go to dinner in New York, on evenings when you weren't playing, or maybe when you were playing. But what's your feeling of the vibe of New York City?
Yeah, it's always been good to me. I don't know. I grew up playing junior tournaments there and grew up in North America, so anything that sort of felt like childhood sort of resonated with me, and I was comfortable, knew everybody there in the crowd, and it just so happened that when we were talking earlier, I'm sitting in my record room, and one of the pictures I had behind me is the table that I used to eat at in New York at Mr. Chow's. It's Andy Warhol and Mick Jagger are in the photo. They were a little more high profile. I didn't quite get that good of a table. But no, I sort of used to go there all the time when I was spending time in New York, and it just so happens that a friend of mine took this photograph back when he was shooting for the Rolling Stones.
Awesome. I promise not to talk too much squash, but I want to take you both back for a moment to 1996. We had moved the Tournament of Champions out of Grand Central due to the renovation, and we were at the Heights Casino. And it was a memorable tournament on a number of levels, not the least of which because it contained your third meeting against each other, but because Jonathon achieved something extraordinary. And Jonathon, what are your memories of your rocket ride through that tournament?
Well, it started off pretty normal. I was in the qualifying, and I took, I think, a bus to the tournament. So I was kind of like a lowly player trying to work my way up. Proceeded to forget my shoes, squash shoes. I heard they're important. So I borrowed Simon Park's shoes that were a half size too small because he had an extra pair. So I borrowed them for the tournament. And then I qualified for that year's Tournament of Champions, luckily. And then I went on to win the rest of the matches and then my first major title from the qualifying. So that was a special moment. It started off pretty Jonathon Power-esque and finished off very Peter Nicol-esque with a victory.
Well, it really, it had never been done, and it may never be done to come from qualifying and win a major. So, and that's the one I remember the most about seeing you get launched onto the national, international stage with that tournament. But Peter, I think you have a little different memory of your semifinal encounter in that tournament.
Yeah, I was thinking, who's this guy? I played him a couple of times before, but he's improved in the last 3 months. And I was pissed. I was really upset that I lost to him in the semis. But at the same time, I knew that there was something special about Jonathon. And the couple of times we played before, he'd started to show that he was a little bit more serious. He had trained a little bit harder. He was physically better, mentally stronger. And then in that tournament, it all came together. So I was upset, but at the same time, I got it. I knew this was going to be someone who was going to be an exceptional player. But it was upsetting at the same time to lose to a qualifier.
You let's talk about your kids. You both have very distinct personalities. So the question of the moment is, Peter, is Bodhi anything like you?
He's as stubborn as me. But he's also as stubborn as his mom. And I think all three of us here know Jessica and Stanley. So between the pair of us and him, it's but and no and but and no and why can't I? And he's only 7. Can't wait for him to be a teenager.
And Jonathon, what about Parker? She's a young lady, and what's her Jonathon Power streak?
Oh, geez, she's nothing like me, which has been delightful. She's very sort of focused on school and precision and not flapping her mouth and she's very sort of fact based. Let's just say so. Far cry from her dad. She loves playing sports and things, but probably certainly doesn't have that competitiveness in sports. But I think she has it in other things, and it's just been a pleasure. She's 14 now, and she just loves so many things in life. So I'm just enjoying watching it happen.
Well, hopefully they'll meet at some point, and you guys can experience that marvelous loop of life when your kids become friends with each other.
Well, they know each other.
So they have met. They met in Bermuda, and I think they had a sleepover one night. This was 4 years ago, and they got on exceptionally well. And Jonathon and I sat down and had a drink together. And they already really liked each other. Parker's awesome. Bodhi's great.
Yeah, no, that formed a while ago.
We've just got a couple minutes left, and Jonathon, I want to ask you a personal question because I've kind of never forgiven you for it. Back in the day, you had a certain attitude about trophies, and I just want to know if you have all 4 of your ToC trophies, or if the Grand Hyatt has them.
Oh man, there's cleaning ladies all over the world with some great trophies. I just feel like it was never my thing. It was never my thing. I don't have any. I don't have if you were over here right now, you couldn't find a trophy or a single thing that represented squash. I think I have somebody's racket that I borrowed in a closet. That's about it. But it's been a I don't know what that was, but no, I never sort of I always wanted to keep moving forward and never kept any of that stuff, and don't have any trophies, and like I said, most of them are in the hotels, or maybe my parents grabbed one or two of them.
We're going to keep you guys on. I'm not dismissing you yet. Peter, I want to ask one question of both of you. Peter, you're coaching Olivia Victor, an up-and-coming American player. What's her horizon look like?
She's incredibly gifted. And then when I say gifted, I mean in terms of her work ethic, her talent hitting, striking the ball, her ability and wish to get better. So across the spectrum, she's excellent. And I think it's going to be up to her how far she goes. But in this last year, where it's obviously been incredibly tough for professional players to do anything and stay motivated, she's really been pushing on and doing a great job. So I think again, it's up to her how far she wants to go. I've had a great time working with her, and I thoroughly enjoy it.
And Jonathon, I don't know what stroke of fate put you and Diego Elias together, but you're a coach to one of the up and coming players from the other end of the Americas. How's that going?
Oh, it's going great. I've been very pleased with this progress. I mean, it's never a straight line. Diego and I've been working together since he was probably 14 years old, with his as a unit with his father and myself. So it's been it's been delightful. I mean, he's still got a few steps, but he's touching it, and he wants to taste it. So I think it'll be one day his to taste.
Great. So we are going to move on with a new guest, but please stay with us for a little bit because we think you will enjoy a few moments with this gentleman.